about our life. We create a narrative trying to weave together our life experiences, our family values that we have, what the culture tells us that we live in, and we try to weave all these things together, our experiences, our family relationships, our cultural values, into a story that makes sense. And so we're always creating these stories of my life, of who I am. Like I am a husband, I'm a father, I'm a chaplain, I'm a minister, I work in hospice. And so these are I'm a student. And so these are the stories, or I'm trying to weave all this together in one meta-narrative. And when folks are coming at the end of their life, and so how do we wrap that into this story of who I am, who I've been, and that is a lot of the work and what I see people do at the end of life, and it's a big thing.
You know, in my book, I write about myth and mythology, and I mentioned Tolkien and Lewis and their concepts about the stories that we tell ourselves and the true myth at work. In your relationship with all of these patients that you've dealt with, how do you help them sort through the myth as opposed to the true myth of their life?
It's a really profound question you've asked. And here's the thing. Who is to say what the true myth is? That's somewhat of a patronizing thing. If I know the true myth, then I'm saying I have the truth that others don't. So and look, I have beliefs. I am a Christian. I love Jesus. That is who I am. For me, that is the true and guiding myth of my life. My life makes no sense apart from Jesus, who Jesus was and is and will be. And so that is my true and guiding myth. Now, for me to try to impose that on others, I know that there are many Christians that believe that's what we're supposed to do. I'm not at that place right now. So here's what I try to do. And this is the big work for me. I live in a rural part of Oregon, so I'm in the car quite a bit traveling to visit patients. I cover two counties in southwest Oregon. And in the car, I try to make good use of the time in between visits. And so I like to listen to teaching tapes. So I get these things from the Great Course, or they're called the Great Courses, or the teaching company, to try to just make good use of the time while I'm driving around. And for me, it's a nurturing thing to get my mind engaged as I'm doing stuff. And so last year I got these courses on existentialism. And they were really good. But I have to say that the week I was driving around listening to lectures on the philosophy of Albert Camus, and because one of his great questions is suicide. That's the only real question. But his existential philosophy, while visiting dying patients all day, that was a hard week. But in the lectures, the professor brought up this great analogy that I have really used in working with the dying. The existential philosophers, particularly Heidegger and Sartre, really teach the only way I can know myself is to be in relationship with others. Because who I am, I'm Fred, the father, the chaplain, the husband, the student, and those are all different aspects of me. And in my relationships, people reflect back to me those parts of who I am. And the word reflect, the teacher brought out in the course that I really like, has two primary meanings in English. One, when I look into a mirror, I see my reflection, and so that's what I look like. But reflection also means when I sit and contemplate who I am, why I am, the great existential questions. And the point is, both of those are connected. I need the reflection of others in my life mirroring back to me the part that they see who I am, so then I can take all these strands when I sit in my own contemplation and weave my narrative together of who I am, what my life is about, and all that. I need these reflections of others to sort out who I am. And so in my work, here's where all that theory has led me. I try to reflect back to folks at the end of their life parts of them that they have revealed to me that I find particularly beautiful, encouraging, and courageous. And they may have forgotten. And so I reflect back to them what they've told me about their life that I think is just beautiful. And that helps them as they're working on their self-narrative at the end of their life. But the thing is, it has to be real. I can't reflect back to somebody something that's not there just because I think it's good. Or I wish they would do this. So I try to reflect, boy, if only you could do this. You can't give unreal. It has to be grounded in reality.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I try. In my work, I try to reflect back to folks the beauty, the love, the grace that they've been able to give to others in their life. I remind them of that as they're constructing what turns out to be their final, narrative of who they are and why they are.